Welcome to the Staffing Playbook podcast, your go-to resource for navigating the dynamic world of staffing and HR. I'm your host, Stephen Farrell. Join me each week as we dive deep into the strategies, insights, and stories that shape the staffing industry. From the latest trends to expert interviews and practical tips, we'll equip you with the right tools and knowledge to succeed in the staffing industry. Whether you're a seasoned professional or just starting out, the Staffing Playbook is here to help you play your best game. Let's get started.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome, everybody, to the Staffing Playbook podcast. I'm your host, Steve Farrell. I am excited about today's episode 21, Omnichannel marketing. There's a good way to, just ruin this conversation with all these great marketers. We're going to talk about having a 360 impact for your staffing firm. So buckle up, everybody. If you're in staffing, if you own a staffing firm, if you're a sales rep, a recruiter, a leader on the front lines, you're going to want to tune in. I've got some amazing guests today. We've got the entire Yes marketing team, the dream team. And as a sales director, what I'm most excited about this episode is grilling these three individuals about marketing, because sales and marketing, we've got to work together. We only, we win together. We lose together. And so I've got some very, I think, direct questions for the three of these great marketers. And hopefully everybody here tuning in will be able to take away several actionable tips that it can immediately apply, whether you're in marketing or in sales or in recruiting. You can share this information and share the podcast. So we're back from a 2-week break from Christmas and New Year's. So we're doing these live every week, so glad to be back. I want to introduce the guests here, let them introduce themselves, and give us a little bit about your experience in marketing. And so we'll start with you, Mark.
Excellent. I'm happy to be here. Happy Friday. I'm excited to introduce the marketing team for Yes. So I'm Mark Webb. I'm the Director of Marketing for Your Employment Solutions. I've been with Yes for almost a year, and we've done some really amazing things. Before that, I owned a digital marketing agency for about 10 years and had just so many different clients and so many different industries come through, and it just opened my eyes to marketing and just interacting with people. So it just made me love marketing and engaging with people. So that was very awesome. I've been at Yes for about a year, and we have this amazing team, and we'll continue with Geneviève and Christina.
All right. Well, hi. I'm Geneviève Bourgeois for our regular following. I'm a repeat offender. Thank you, Steve, for having me on again. So let's see. I have been within the staffing industry for about 6.5 years now, specifically doing marketing. I have a background in doing both B2B and B2C. It's pretty fun. I love it. I love the creativity. And yeah, take it away, Miss Christina.
Hi, all. I'm Christina. I have been with Yes I'm a newer addition to the marketing team at Yes. But prior to Yes, I did marketing with another staffing agency. So I've been in staffing for about 4 years. I actually started as a recruiter. So from the bottom up, I just kind of moved through the channels, and before that, in the past life, I was a medic in the United States Army. So yeah, it was kind of a change, but I really enjoy marketing, and I think we're going to have a lot of great insight for today's call.
Well, welcome everybody. Thanks for the introductions. Christina, being a medic in the Army, you might need to preemptively set up a triage here for the collateral damage after I just grill you guys. So
I got it covered.
We did bring a medic, Steve.
Great idea. Okay, I just want to get like straight to it. I want to dive in. I've got a lot of questions, because at the end of the day, the staffing industry was down double digits in 2024 compared to 2023. By my count, probably one of the worst years in this industry since 08, 09. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but seems to be the case. And so, as a sales director, I'm looking at 2025, with really want to be strategic and thoughtful and make sure we have a great year in 2025. And I'm looking at you, marketing, to help us accomplish that. In past podcasts, we've had, like director of marketing at Haley Marketing on here and others. And, he mentioned that you've really got to be in sync with your marketing and sales team. They've got to be just, together, one team to be successful in 2025. And so considering that, I want to get to specific strategies that, marketing should be doing in the staffing industry in 2025. So I want to start with you, Christina, since you're the newest addition to the marketing team. My primary question for you is, can you break down the differences in how we should approach our social media for B2B versus B2C? And can you explain, how to ensure consistency between social platforms and a company website?
Yeah. So basic marketing principles, you have to know your audience, right? So, the differences with B2B and B2C, of course, like you're going to have different audiences with that. You've got clients, you've got talent. They're looking for two different things. Obviously, your B2C within staffing, they're going to be looking for, they're job seekers. They're going to be looking for job postings and the what's in it for me, as Genevieve has referenced in past podcasts. So you're going to want to play on those points in your social media strategy and, when talking to those audiences and things. And while like B2B, these are the clients, these are our, people trying to find good experienced staff, that are reliable and everything. So you're going to want to try and, like showcase as a staffing agency that we are reliable, that we do, present results, and that, at the end, we fill the jobs with the right candidates, and we can like meet their bottom line at the end of the day. So obviously, like those two, like they require two totally different strategies, to be completely honest. And like when it comes to platforms and things like that, you're going to want to try to play into, okay, like where are these audiences going to try and find that information and their end goal. So it's very like fundamental in that sense of like, it's just like your fundamental marketing strategies and everything. So it's not like really that hard, but I feel like a lot of people almost overcomplicate it, or they like mash it together, and it's just this big gray area of like, who are we actually talking to? Like, what is this social media strategy? Do we even have a social media strategy right now? So yeah. And so ensuring the consistency within social platforms is equally as important as like being on the website. If you're on your website and it's confusing as far as like the user experience of like, okay, so as a candidate, where am I going to go to try and get a job, try and find job details and things like that? Or as a client, where am I going to go and try and find the staffing experts, and like how do I contact them and different things like that? Like it has to be very segregated almost. I mean, you obviously want to like have your core business structure and like your core values, very upfront, but like you want to make sure those paths are very clear, along with, the content that you're presenting to those two audiences. So ensuring that there is consistency with that, like those paths are consistent. If you have, a job seeker going onto the website and they like click onto a link and it's like, oh, contact your staffing expert. Well, you're probably going to lose that lead, right? Because they're confused already. They're not going to know how to proceed to apply for a job. And it's the same thing with B2B. So keeping them separate, keeping them consistent, ensuring that like your content speaks to the right audiences. Again, very fundamental like marketing things, but very, very crucial. So yeah.
Thank you, Christina. Yeah, I think during COVID, B2C was extremely crucial for marketing and staffing agencies to get the talent to their customers, and that's now switched in our industry. We're heavily focused on B2B, getting new business, and you can send conflicting messages if you're got both campaigns going on at the same time. What's truly your focus? What are you trying to accomplish? It seems like right now it's easy to get candidates and you can get them quickly. You put a job ad up in 24 hours, you've got 1,000 people that have already applied. It's not so easy to put up a lead form for B2B and get 1,000 potential customers reaching out, if any. It's when you look at your website, your social channels, you mentioned that consistency, everything looks the same messaging, you know exactly what to do, you're prompted for the next step. Are there any specific tools you would recommend people use to accomplish that, or any best practices?
So a lot, everyone, and you had mentioned this in past podcasts as well, like the use of AI is like it's very useful. So using AI to like understand the differences and even just asking like the right questions of like, okay, what are the keywords I'm going to need for a B2B audience versus a B2C audience, and ensuring that like your content matches that and the voice and everything. So I think like AI tools are really important for that. I think just knowing your industry like statistics and the insights and everything, knowing what your audience is looking for, the information, the knowledge that they're looking for, I think like those things are going to be fundamental. So any type of like data tracking and things like that for just like your current industry of like what you're trying to accomplish and staff for, or staffing in general. I think those are going to be the most important tools that you can use to get the best social media strategy.
That's great. We'll come back to Christina because I think I want to go a little bit deeper there. But I want to bring Mark up. Mark, I want to talk about targeted ads and copy specifically. When it comes to designing ads, drafting copy, how important is it to tailor your creative to each platform? You've got LinkedIn for B2B, you've got Instagram, you've got YouTube, you got Meta, and TikTok and many others. And so how do you ensure you're maximizing your ROI specifically for staffing, right? What does that look like?
Yeah, well, with so many different platforms available and the ease to be able to switch back and forth, if you put out the same message on each platform, your audience is going to be able to see the same message, right? And maybe get a little bit of ad fatigue. So it's absolutely important to have unique copy, unique messaging, unique imagery to whatever platform that you're going to choose to be on. And like Christina said, you have to know your audience. Where are they? Where do they hang out? Where do they get their news? Where do they go when they want to have fun? What are they doing online? And then once you understand that, then you can insert your targeted, copy and images on that platform. So it's very important to play towards the platform, right? LinkedIn is going to be more B2B. Instagram may be more B2C for you, and it may be just visuals. But and the thing is now imagery and visuals, they're becoming so much more important. In fact, Mr. Beast, a few years ago, he said his videos, he makes the thumbnail first and then he makes the video, right? Because getting that conversion of people to click on it, because you can have all this great content, but if nobody's clicking on it and nobody's interacting with it, it doesn't matter. So keep that in mind, that maybe that thumbnail as you scroll through on YouTube is more important than the video. Now, that's maybe not the case, but you understand they're both important. It's important to have a good video. It's important to have a good thumbnail. Maybe you didn't think about that. And now YouTube is like, hey, we're going to offer you 3 different thumbnails, and then we'll pick, and then we'll see which one is performing the best, and then we'll use that one. Like all these automations are coming in because it's such an important piece of the puzzle, right? And sometimes it's their first interaction with your company, right? They don't know. So you want to be able to speak in their language. You don't want them to feel isolated or against you. You want to hit their pain points. So it's very important to use the proper language on the proper platform. But again, you have to understand your audience to know where they hang out. And once that's going, you have to really base it on real world performance and not assumptions, right? Because you can make something and say, ooh, I know this is gonna go perform well. Look how cool this is. And then it's flat, right? It's always based on the data. Maybe we have to change things, maybe we have to alter things. So it's very important to make sure that the content is specific. Even if you're on 10 different platforms and you have to make 10 different unique pieces every day, it's important. For me, it's important to have that unique interface with your audience. Now, for staffing, right? How do you maximize your ROI? Is you see the ad and you see how it's performing. Mm-hmm. Are people clicking on it? Are there conversions? What's happening? Right? How long has it been running for? All these things are very important. So what we typically do when we see a new ad, we put it on there for 2 weeks and we just let it perform, right? Because then you're going to be able to get real world data, which is very, very important. Because I mean, there's so many times that I've heard from marketing, right? They're like, oh, this is the best content, right? No, let's see what the actual people think. So,
okay, I want to pause you there for a second because you said something earlier that was super interesting, and I think I captured it. Maybe I didn't, but you were talking about like knowing your audience and where they hang out. You know, for work versus being at home, or maybe being in the gym, or out with family for Thanksgiving, and they really don't want to interact, so they're on their phone. And so, if I'm hearing this right, like, if you're targeting an HR manager or a warehouse manager, maybe you're targeting them on LinkedIn for when they're on LinkedIn, when they're at work. But then you also might be targeting them on Facebook or YouTube or Reddit or what have you. Is that right? Did I hear that right?
Yeah, absolutely. And for me, I was at work yesterday, and then I got home, I said hi to my kids, and I went to the gym. And so I'm running on the treadmill and I have my phone out, right? And I'm checking some things that I wasn't able to check at work, and some personal things. And while I'm doing this, I'm getting ads on my feed, right? And I'm getting ads because I'm doing personal stuff. I'm going to Instagram, I'm maybe going to Facebook, and maybe going to WhatsApp, or maybe to Facebook Messenger to contact some people. You can advertise along the way. Google, you can advertise in Gmail, on any Google suite, right? You can target people. So again, you have to think about not just LinkedIn. What are they doing at night? What are they doing when their family's out of town, or when they're home, or just when they're hanging out with their wife, or you have to really understand your audience in order to target them. And because it's not going to be just one touch point, one LinkedIn ad. No, it's going to be one LinkedIn ad, and then an Instagram ad, and then a mailer. And there's going to be so many different touch points that are going to lead them along that path to conversion.
So from a non-marketer, a sales guy, to me that sounds really cool, but it also sounds like really complicated. Like how do we? And I'm going to open this up to the group. Like, if you guys agree or disagree with Mark, but how do we execute on this? Because I'm going, that sounds really cool, over my head, but how does that become utility?
Well, I would like to go and follow up on something that Mark just said. And so I actually was doing a case study with my previous company. And when it comes to touch points, it was one of those things you had to go and consistently touch point about like 7 times before something would actually convert. Okay, so think about, all right, they see something on Reddit, they see something in their inbox, they see a video, they see this, they see that. And so like, touch points and having multiple touch points, that is exactly why omni-channel marketing is so important. And you have to be organized and you have to have a strategy. And sometimes something's going to come up and you're just going to have to wing it and be like, all right, ooh, we got a lever that just pulled over here. We're going to have to go pull this one over here into like double time. So it is a very complicated balance, but it's a lot of fun.
And even the marketing platforms work with you, so you don't develop this ad fatigue, right? You don't want your ad just to show and show and show to the same person. And so they have these things now where it'll show them every X amount of days, or every time they see it, it'll wait 7 days before they get another ad served or something like that. There's a lot of really unique tools that that can help enable you to reach out your audience so they don't get ad fatigue, because like Jean-Vieve said, yeah, you have to have those touch points along the way, or you're going to lose them, or your competitor is going to steal them.
Interesting. Okay, I want to dig into this a little bit more with you, Mark. For tracking and metrics, when ads are live, how do you track their performance effectively? Because you just started talking about that. How do you translate those numbers into actionable insights? Bringing them to me, right? As a sales guy, like I want to know what does this actually mean? Does this mean I get more business? Help me out there.
Yeah, absolutely. So once we understand our audience and we have the right copy and the right imagery and the right message, the right campaign that we want to send out, we put it out there. We maybe could put some ads behind it, right? Put some money and get more reach to that audience, but it's out there right now. How do we know it's successful? Well, like I said, give it a minimum of 2 weeks, right? Or maybe 3 or 4 weeks, just to see what's going to happen with that ad, because you have kind of a bias on what you think is going to happen, and you want to be able to get real world performance. So as those are happening, you can check upon that. Like, probably first is like a cost per click. Are people actually clicking on it? Are people interacting with it? Are they seeing it and then just scrolling by? If you're getting a lot of zeros like that and they're just scrolling by, that could be a red flag, right? Like nothing is happening. Or if you have we're getting some clicks, but we're not getting a conversion, right? Maybe it's been running for a couple of weeks and there's no conversion, right? There's a lot of things that can tell you along the way of what's happening. Maybe they're clicking and they're spending time on your website, but they're not converting, right? Maybe then the website is a bottleneck, or we have to figure out what they're doing. So being able to, as those ads are going, they provide so much information, these ad platforms, so you can get your cost per click, cost per acquisition. And in fact, Google is trained enough where you can say, I want a customer that's going to spend X amount of money, right? Only show my ads to a target like that, right? And so you can start really, really narrowing your audience with these ads and seeing if it's, seeing how the tracking is going and seeing how people are interacting with them. But you do have these platforms that are really trying to help you get there. And so after you've given it amount of time and you're able to check the data, you can see, with Pixel set up, you can see people coming to your website and where they're going after. You can see on Google what's the last page that they clicked on our site. You can really track that whole customer journey on the digital side, as long as you have it set up correctly with your ads. So you can really understand your whole customer journey, and then you can start breaking that down. If you're not getting conversions, if your cost per acquisition is too high, then you can really start integrating there.
Yeah. So help me translate this a little bit further, and this is kind of open it up to the group here. Can one of you give me an example, a real example of an ad that you pushed out or a campaign wasn't working based on the data insights that you were sharing there, Mark, whether it was the CPC or the conversion rates, and what did you do with that real-time data to pivot, and what was the end result?
I mean, I can share an example again. I mean, we had that recently where we had people coming to our website, right? They were clicking on our ads. Our ads were going really well. And we're saying we're getting a steady increase of people filling out these forms and coming to our site. But once they got to our site, they didn't do anything, right? They weren't going to the sites that we were expecting, right? We had landing pages built and they weren't getting the traffic we wanted, right? But our website was getting people were coming and going to different parts of our website, right? We were getting more traffic, but nothing was happening, right? So we have our ads, people are clicking on them, people are coming to our website for a big zero. What's happening? So then we went back into the website and we're saying, oh my gosh, look at these bounce rates on some of these pages. What's the first page that somebody came through and then they navigated, and what's the last page they left on? Right? Then we can go in and break down some of these pages, and then you could get heat mapping on pages and see where they're actually going, right? And then you're able to really understand your audience on where they're coming and what they're doing on your website to really help navigate. So you can understand if it's going to be an associate or a customer, somebody that wants a staff or somebody that's looking for a job. And so it's been really beneficial being able to see along these digital analytics that help us make actual decisions in the future, right? Because we're able to change that and pivot that, and then look back at our ads and say, hey, did this work? Is it improving? Are people converting more or less? What steps do we need to take? So it's kind of a never-ending process, right? You have it done, and then you go to another campaign, or you're like, hey, maybe it's been enough time where we can pivot this. Yeah. Sorry, I don't mean to take up all the time. If you get me talk about marketing, I'll talk all day. It fires me up. So
that heat map sounds a bit intrusive. You're telling me you could see where people are kind of hanging out on this site in certain sections?
It's fantastic, because then you're saying when they come to this site, they're immediately scrolling because they want to learn about this, or they're clicking on this, or they're going right here. It's fantastic and very invasive what the internet can do.
Before I move into the next question, anyone else, Christina or Genevieve, got any feedback on this?
Well, so if anything, we're going to just go back to the whole heat mapping and how intrusive it is. But if you are seeing that people are staying on one page or they're scrolling to one area longer and they are on your website on that page longer, that's the type of content that it's like, okay, how can we go put a different spin on this? How can we get more information? Can we go tailor some ads to this? How about some social media postings? How about some email campaigns? How about we go and work this in with our sales associates by giving them either like a script or something where they can go and talk about that specific point and educating the field.
Interesting.
And even piggybacking on both of that, like continuing to make sure that the consistency is there as well. Just like, what we opened up about, an ad can do really, really well. And, wherever it lands to within our landing page, within our website and everything, if the content on the website is confusing, it's got, for different audiences and stuff, they're not going to convert. And like the heat mapping can tell us, okay, like, where is it that it becomes confusing? How can we clarify this content now? Is this the right audience that we're, targeting this to? Should we, change the content to like make it a different audience? Like always thinking about that user experience and like where they're going within that path and that journey, and having that consistency. I mean, again, just presents the importance everywhere, with paid or organic, content.
Yeah.
And if I may go and add to that, so here's one of the difficult things of staffing, okay? Because we're not marketing a product, okay? We're not just selling a service of one type. We have both sales and recruiting that has to be done. So from one website, the navigation needs to be super clear. And this was something that we had issues with, where people who were candidates were going into and filling out forms for leads. That is something that's not really good. So Christina has done a phenomenal job of just really kind of cleaning up and making sure like the language is the right tone of voice, and making sure like for the business pages, they are clearly navigation, and marked out of like where that customer journey is and where it should be going. And then it's the same thing with the recruiting, with the candidate side of the journey. and making sure that people are going into the right places by having a very clear navigation and knowing instinctually where and what to do when they get to our site, depending on what side.
Wow. For those of you that are tuning in, and this sounds like gibberish, and if you're listening to your own marketing team and it's very clear English and you understand, there might be a problem. You need to make sure they speak the lingo that this team is speaking, because clearly they know what they're talking about and I do not. All right. And now I can't even I feel like I've let everyone down. I'm not really grilling you guys because you're just knocking it out of the park. But we're not done yet. So Genevieve, let's talk about drip campaigns. Let's talk about how we can, kind of skill market our talent to help, get new business. Staffing firms, including us, we use drip campaigns, right? These are email campaigns in most cases. And, we want to skill market candidates because it's hard to get business right now. We want to stay engaged with our audience, our customers and prospective customers. So when it comes to best practices for planning and executing these campaigns, so they're effective in nurturing leads and, which are potential clients for B2B and existing clients, what does that look like? What are some of those best practices?
Okay, so consistency. All right, you don't want to overwhelm people. Okay. I know when I go into my email and I see something, I'm getting an email like 2-3 times a day from the same company, I get annoyed. I'm like, really? DSW, I don't need all these messages. Okay. Just as an example, and like, that's where I'm like, nope, I'm getting too many and I'll go and unsubscribe. So you do want to have some frequency, but you also want to offer up data or some sort of material that they're going to be interested in. Now, I like to kind of go with the every other week kind of approach. All right. But also when it comes to the metrics, you got to do some A and B testing. You need to figure out your sweet spots of what time people will actually go and open it, what days. And so I actually have already run all those metrics through A and B testing and making sure it's like, okay, here, our targeted area, our sweet spot where people are actually clicking into the email, they're actually spending time on the email, and then they're actually going through with the call to action. All right. And now sometimes that call to action could be going to something like an ebook. Like not that long ago, we went and we produced a whole ebook on turnover, which has valuable information in there. So tracking that data, because that is really good information for both your active clients, inactive clients, and also your leads and prospects. But you need to make sure that when you're doing this, you have those funnels all kind of broken down. The same thing also goes with candidates as well. If you're having a hard time recruiting, you want to go narrow down that list. If this is someone that you've previously worked with and they left for a while, you want them to come back. You want that messaging to be, hey, we missed you. We have this incredible opportunity for you. You want to have that. Or, hey, we saw that you previously applied to a role like this. However, this opening just came up. It's two very different tones, but similar messaging, but different language. So you really want to be targeted in that. So that's one part. All right. Now we're going to get into the SKMKs. I know I call it that. However, it's skill marketing. All right. And you got to keep in mind, we are in the industry of staffing. We are in the industry of people. All right. And we have an incredible opportunity where we can actually truly change and impact someone's life in a valuable way. Like for them, it's like creating consistency in their paychecks, health insurance, you name it. Like they know where their next paycheck is coming from. And those are people who apply to our roles. They are hopeful and they are looking for a job. All right. If they are qualified, we should be doing everything we can to be putting these people to work. Like, and that's where my real passion comes from with this. It's like, I love people. And that's why I will go and push skill marketing. It's like, hey, these people, they're hopefuls. They want a job and they need a job. Go out there, go showcase, hey, I have so and so, blah, 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 blah. They have X, Y, and Z experience, blank, 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 blank. They are seeking X, Y, and Z dollars. Like just high level, like 2 or 3 sentences. But this is something where our sales associates can be like, hey, listen, you have this type of opening. I have a list of these people who are ready and qualified to go. We can have them here tomorrow morning. What do you say, Mr. Client? Let's draft up that paperwork, because it's good to kind of have a surplus at times, but at the same point in time, the goal is to put people to work.
You just said something really interesting, and it was the human element, because I think often companies look at staffing firms transactionally as a commodity. It's like, hey, I have an opening, get me a person, right? But you're talking about that person that just applied, came to the branch or applied online. They're not applying for fun. I mean, probably a couple people out there do that for fun. I don't know why, but they are looking for a job for a variety of motivations, like you just mentioned. And so we owe it to them, if they're a candidate that's ideal for the type of customers we service, to do everything we can to get them the job that they're looking for, that they're most qualified, that meets their goals and objectives. And so having a way to really showcase that candidate in front of a prospective customer or current customer, to show them the value of, like, hey, this candidate's going to help you, client, reach your goals. I think we, from the surface, we want to do that, but to be actually focused on the candidate and helping them reach their goal, which in return helps a company reach their goal, that's a lot more of a sincere approach. And I think people see that in the way you market that, the way you speak to it. And I think that's really an important piece here, because it shouldn't be transactional. We have to partner with the client. We have to partner with the candidate to make sure it's a good fit.
Exactly. And it's a 360 business. And one of the things that I find most intriguing and challenging, especially when it comes to staffing, is because we are marketing a service. Okay. Think about social media, like influencers. What are they all marketing or selling? It's a product. Almost anyone can go and sell a product. But when it comes to a service, specifically when it comes to people, it's so much more different. It's so much more intricate and complicated. And that's where you need to have some organization and figure out your strategy. Now, we've already mapped out a whole strategy when it comes to certain things that we're doing for the entire year, but things are going to come up. All right. Let's just say, hey, we get a call. Steve's like, hey, guess what? I got an order. I need 250 people. Okay. We need to be able to go look into, hey, who do we have available now? Because the faster we can get people to the client, the better, right? It's like, hey, Mr. Client, guess what? I've got 30 people who can go and start tomorrow. They've already been vetted. We're going to start advertising for X, Y, and Z immediately to get you the others. You know what I mean? So it's very important, especially on like the B2C side, when it comes to recruiters, they have their list of people that are ready to go, because it's essentially, these people are hopefuls. They want to have a job. We have that, but marketing, we need to be able to pull another lever. And there are times it's like, if we have something for a large order, I'm going to be like, all right, we're all going to have a late one. Let's get that espresso going. Okay. Because we have to go and jump on something like that. Even though we have a full year planned out of action items and things that we're doing, we still have to be ready to jump in response within the industry, because this is an industry of people. And it's putting people to work, and it's making clients happy and having their business grow. And honestly, it's like, what was it? Was it AT&T? It's like keeping up with the speed of your business or something like that. Like they had a whole thing back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
In staffing, that's kind of goal. We need to be able to ramp up with a business, and we need to be able to slow down when they slow down.
Yeah. All right. I want to, before I move to the next question that I'm going to ask Mark here in a minute, one more thing for you is, back to like the drip campaigns, everyone in staffing, we look to our marketing team as like all the print and the media and the ads and the SEO, but how does marketing help like physical touch points, like physical marketing? Is that a thing? Like, can we tell me about that, or anybody here?
Absolutely. Okay. So the thing is, not everything is just digital. All right. And especially in sales, you want to be able to go knock on someone's door and be like, hey, I'm Steve from Your Employment Solutions, blank, blank, blank. Oh, wait, you're going to have to deal with the gatekeeper. All right. That person who's keeping you from the hiring manager.
Yeah, we love our gatekeepers. Trust me.
But that's where you need to either make them smile, bring them a sweet treat, or you need to make sure that you have some physical materials to leave behind as well that have a good, like, high level. Here, this is how we can go help out with your business. All right. And having multiple materials that people can go either print off, or if they have to, send them digitally, especially if you're doing something for more of a remote location. But showing up, having a brochure that is like, hey, this is what we do. This is how we do it. It helps get that door open. All right. And also, it's one of those things I love thinking about. Okay, hey, let's go get a mailer out there. Hey, you know what? It's the holidays, right? They just
what? What's a mailer?
Oh my goodness, right?
I thought those are things of the past.
Nope, they still happen. But think about like even a touch point of just sending a holiday card to your clients, or even like, that's really nice. And if you can go and do a handwritten touch, it's a beautiful thing. I mean, trust me, oh man, there was one time I had to write 82 letters and they were all like a paragraph long. My wrist was like shaking by the end of it. But do you know how many orders I got out of that?
How many?
Oh, I probably got about 23 calls. All right. And that translated into multiple orders and built new relationships, even for like prospects. Okay. It would be one of those things. Hey, blah, 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 blah. I hope you and your family and yours have a sincere blah, 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 blank, blank, blank. Looking forward to hearing from you soon. Cheers to the new year. Whatever you want to go say, but adding that personal touch to it is super important, especially with something like that, where it's, oh, hey, that's a little bit different. Okay, got a holiday card. I know, I love them. Okay, but that's just holiday cards. But having those physical materials, sometimes you got to think about, hey, what's someone's pain point? It could be risk and mitigation. All right, when it comes to safety and compliance as well. And having these pieces that actually kind of break down, hey, this is how we can help you reduce your risk. All right, because every client is going to have a different pain point. So this is where we need to have multiple materials and refresh materials consistently.
Yeah, I'm thinking back to what Christina shared about the consistency in your ads and your messaging. And so when I look at like, okay, if there's a real active pain point going on in our industry. So for example, an active pain point right now is recruiters are overwhelmed with the number of applicants per job that are coming in, because the jobs are not as fruitful as they used to be, not as many out there. And so to find the most qualified candidates first and reach out to them is challenging, because you're sifting through 1,000 within a 24-hour period. And so are your competitors. And if they know how to sift through properly, maybe using a large language model, they're going to get to your candidates, those great candidates, before you can, and they're not going to pick up your call. And so, thinking about that, for example, as a pain point that's active in our industry. So now, marketing, you guys have ads where you're talking about that pain point and how we solve that pain point by, hey, for example, we have 30 recruiters that are sifting through and we're finding the right candidates first. And we have a large language model that helps us do that. Just throwing out an example. And then you're sending a mailer that says that. You've got, a TikTok video about it. And then your sales team is out in the field, and likely if we're all doing this the right way, they've already seen that messaging on ads. They've received the email in the drip campaign. And so you're there physically now speaking to that pain point, and all of a sudden it's not novel to them. They've been seeing and hearing it from us, and now they're more welcoming to that conversation.
And that's one of those things when it comes to brand awareness. That's why you have to be consistent. That's why, like, even like brand language and brand like guidelines between like I get very specific on these things. Like, you want to have your hex codes, okay, for your super specific colors. You need to go and have even like your typography, because having that same look, brand, and feel, and that's with digital, social media, that's with ads. It goes across the entire board. Having that consistency in the branding of who we are, what we do, and how we do it, it's gonna start moving and making people feel more comfortable. Like, okay, I think I remember I got something a while ago, and you all mentioned that. But wait a minute, you're here talking to me about this too? Okay, all right. It's gonna make people feel more comfortable, because what are we? We are professionals at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And even just that, like adding on, you want to be out, like thinking outside of the box. We're not the only staffing agency. Obviously, like I'm sure others within the staffing industry will be tuning into this podcast to like, listen in and everything. But like you want to be consistent in your brand, because you want to stand out from the others. But it's the same thing with those personal touch points. Like you want to be memorable. You want, everyone to, the number one goal in marketing in general is that you want people to think, oh, like I need an employee. Well, I'm going to go to this agency. I'm going to go to them because they're trusted. Oh, I have a mouse that they gave me that I use every single day. And I think of them every single day because of this. It's top of mind, like keeping top of mind, being relevant within, certain answers to like problems that our candidates and our clients have. So.
Yeah. Well stated. All right, we're coming up on time, but I still have like 2 or 3 more questions here. I want to start. I want to start the next question for you, Mark. When it comes to these touch points that we've been referencing, I want to talk about some of your efforts that this team that you've been leading this team with, to help sales, get more business. Just for one example, we had a really cool, like Fritter Friday, where we delivered a bunch of fritters to our customers, just giving them that surprise and delight as a touch point. So, can you get into some of those tactics of those touch points?
Yeah, absolutely. And this is one of the fun things about marketing, because we've talked about so many different avenues today, and a lot of them, not all of them, but a lot of them digital, right? And so these are some of the fun physical touch points that we're able to do, because marketing, I mean, it used to all be physical, right? And then with introduction of the internet, it just became easier to do email marketing and eventually text message marketing. I still think that your text, your phone number, that's the best way to market to you right now, like text messaging. So I think that'll be very important coming up. But there's so many different ways to do it, and these physical touch points, we want to be just as impressive and just as meaningful, because you're going to have that face-to-face interaction, right? So one of the ones that we've done is, we deliver donuts, right? Is that a big thing? Taking donuts to a company? No, everybody takes donuts, but we made it into more of a campaign. We got 250 donuts. We got our sales team together. We got our managers and recruiters, and we had a game plan of getting them out to which clients and which customers, right? And then we kind of had a targeted plan, and then we executed on that. There was a lot of things that marketing had to do along the way to get this execution, but at the end of the day, we got donuts out into the hands of our salesmen and our sales team, and then they did the rest, right? And so that's kind of what marketing is just enabling the sales team, right? And so we succeed when they succeed. So it was awesome to be kind of on the front lines together, going out and seeing these people and getting these interactions, because they're able to go again, take donuts, but it's that personal touch point, right? Even small personal touch points can increase the likelihood of repeat business by over 70%, right?
Ooh.
They can boost customer loyalty by 70%. Those are numbers you're not going to see digitally, right? This is you're there in their face, and you can, just like you said, Steve, you can answer all their questions. We've tried to prime the pump with marketing right up until this point, so it's just great for the salesman to capitalize. So that's, again, marketing. We were just trying to to support the sales team, to arm them so that they can go out and reap the benefits. But it was a fun time. We went out and took donuts to our clients, and then at the end of the day, we listened to what they said, and they were happy. They appreciated it, right? They felt special. It was a surprise, and that's what we're going for. All the work and all the efforts and we want, how do they feel after that? We want them to think about us and get that repeat business.
I want to just stay on that for just a quick second, because I was part of this campaign that you guys put together, this surprise and delight with delivering dozens of donuts to 250 dozens, right? 250 dozen, and the purpose wasn't to go in there and ask for an order or ask for a contract. It was just, we want to thank you as a customer, or hey, prospect, we want to thank you for the time you've spent with us this past couple months that we've been getting to know each other. Here's a dozen donuts for you and your team, as just a show of gratitude, and that's it. You leave it at that, and then what's interesting is, because it's so sincere, customers and prospective customers are going, well, hey, actually, since you're here, I've got this problem. Do you think you can help me with these job orders? And all of a sudden, you go from just doing something kind, turning into some more business for you, and it just happens organically. And I think that's important, to go in with that sincere mindset. We're truly thankful for your business. We're thankful for your time, and here's one way we're showing that appreciation. It's just one more touch point.
And if I may go add to that, you got to think about what we actually do. We are in the business of people, right? And building relationships and trust. It's a huge part of what we do, and doing that physical kind of touch point, getting back to touch points, Mark, doing that physical touch point of making a delivery and being like, hey, just want to brighten up your day. And then you get that client or that potential client speaking to you. It's just a really nice, sweet, genuine way to actually build relationships.
Yeah.
It opens doors.
Yeah. Okay, I've got two more questions. One will be for the group, and then just kind of a tip that each of you can give. So I want to hear from the group. We could start with Christina. How do we seamlessly blend our online and now offline marketing? For all those personal touches, the email campaigns, social media, direct mail, to really have that unified brand, no matter where the prospect or customer encounters this marketing. How do we seamlessly blend all of that and keep it pretty direct here for us?
Yeah, I mean, everything, all the markets, the marketing that we did with the Fritter Friday and everything, we advertised it. I mean, we told people like, hey, like we're doing this, like we're going out and seeing our customers face to face. We're having these personal touch points. It's not like bragging, but it's just, I mean, it's kind of bragging because we're pretty cool, right? But like it's just showcasing that like we truly appreciate from the internal to external. Like we show our appreciation to our clients, to our associates. I see all the time that our staff is constantly recognizing their associates, like just in the field and everything, and just posting it, not even on like official social media accounts. It's on their personal accounts. Like they truly love what they do, and we all love what we do. So just to Genevieve's point too, like we're in the business of people. So, I mean, we have to love people. We have to love being around people and connecting with them. And so the only way we're going to be able to blend that, seamlessly is just showcasing it. I mean, showing how much we appreciate with all these different marketing techniques and tactics and whatever. I mean, it's all just mumbo jumbo, until we actually put it into like a purpose. Like we have to have a purpose behind the strategies and everything. Without it, I mean, we're just, again, it's just mumbo jumbo. It's just something that you can hear from another podcast somewhere where people just talk about tactics and stuff. It's just words until you put like real humans behind it. So yeah, that's to me is how you would seamlessly blend those two efforts.
That's great. Genevieve?
Do I have to follow up after that?
I'm sorry.
I mean,
It was a good answer too. Yeah.
you could say ditto.
Yeah, ditto. Like the Christmas tree lights, like they're really nice, and the other house has like ditto. Okay. That, so no, I mean phenomenal, like phenomenal answer. That's hard to follow up. And so for myself, it's definitely, I think, okay, when it goes to the digital and the physical, like I brought up before, brand guidelines, having that consistency in there, right? Between your physical materials, your digital materials, your social media, your ads, okay? Like having the consistency and also the language that you're using, the way how you have your call to actions, because guess what? There's a call to action. It's not a button when it comes to a flyer. All right. It's like, hey, give us a call today. Stuck in the weeds because of your hiring needs? Call Steve Farrell today. Sorry, I just thought of that.
That was good. I like it.
Right. You know, I'm full of it, but it's all of that consistency in really translating from the digital and the physical, but also it's how your people are trained. It's how they're speaking, how knowledgeable they are on the topic as well.
Awesome. Okay. Marketing Mark, the marketing enthusiast. What about you?
Well, I will. Those are both great answers, and it just makes me really happy to be on this team because I'm going to give a little bit of a different answer, and that will just show how our marketing team operates, right? So I'm going to say the best way to seamlessly blend it is to understand your audience. If you understand your audience, you're going to speak to them the same. You're going to say the same thing to them to their face. If you're going to write it in a letter, if you're going to be on social media, if you understand your audience, then you just have to say it's just like a conversation that you're going to have, and you're going to have it whether you're writing that note or standing in line or talking to them or on social media. If you understand your audience, you'll be able to understand their pain points and speak to that. So that's how I would do that. But I just love Genevieve and Christina's answer, because each of us have totally different histories, right? But here we are on the same team, and we're working together and using all of the skills and abilities each other have to really make a difference for the people that we target, right? To make people's lives better. And that's, again, one thing that everybody said here is that staffing, it's a higher purpose. It's helping and changing people's lives, and just having that is a wonderful thing to market. And there's a lot of emotion involved, and so that is a benefit to, well, sometimes a detractor for marketing. But it's just I'm grateful for their answers. That was a very, very good wrap up. So as you can see how proud I am of the team that we have here.
I love that. Okay, we have gone over in time, but this has been a lot of fun. So I just want to do one 60-second answer for this question, because it should be pretty simple. I want to know what's one key piece of advice that you would give to a staffing firm looking to adopt an omni-channel marketing approach for the first time. Just one piece of advice, and between the three of you, they're going to have three pieces of advice they can just take action on. So Christina, what's that one piece of advice for first-time adopters?
Take your audience from point A to point B, from start to finish. Keep the path consistent with your content and everything.
A to B.
A to B.
All right. Genevieve?
Okay, I think what you're going to have to go and think about, or at least what I think about, is I think about why I got into the business and why I stick in this business, okay, and how it translates to the outside world, all right? And it goes back to the marketing 4 P's of staffing, okay? That was a previous episode.
Yeah, go back and check it out if you haven't listened to it.
Yeah, people, passion, purpose, and placement.
Love it. That was like 2 pieces of advice.
She's an overachiever.
She's like, don't put me in that box. I got more than one answer.
I have that on my computer, by the way, the 4 P's of staffing from that. That was really great. If you haven't heard it, go back and listen to that episode of Jean-Vieve. That was fantastic.
Yeah.
Mark? What I'm going to say if you're trying to create an omni-channel approach, don't get overwhelmed. I mean, there is so much to do. The digital, email, social, physical, just don't get overwhelmed. Take a little bit piece at a time and you'll get there.
Very good. I'll add my 2 cents. Go and read Alan Dibb's book, The One-Page Marketing Plan. Start there if you're a first-time adopter looking for omnichannel marketing, Mark's got it right there.
You beat me to it.
Book. But more than read it, treat it like you're in school and you need to do a book report on it. Study it. Take action. Because reading it will just, you're going to feel good when you put the book down, and then you're going to move on with life and forget about just about everything in that book. Study it, put it into practice, and before you do anything with omnichannel marketing, start there. All right. Well, we just finished up a full hour here. Thank you guys. This has been really fun. As someone who's in sales, interviewing this great marketing team and not understanding probably, 3/4 of it. But I just get to be receive the benefit of what you guys do. And so please comment below if you've enjoyed this session. Let us know what's working for you in your firm. And if you're interested to hear more, check out our links to our website for the Staffing Playbook podcast for more updates. But thank you, everybody. Have a fantastic weekend, and we'll see you next Friday.
Thank you for having us.
See you. Have a great weekend.
Six months ago, I get a call from Steve Farrell, who wants to talk about partnering with Yes for our labor needs. It would
change your approach to staffing.
I told him I've already used multiple agencies and have had headaches with each one. So my approach to staffing is just fine.
With multiple agencies, we thought we had our staffing needs covered. Hey, the agency employees didn't show up, so we're short on staff again. I'm sorry.
Bupkis. Curses. Fetch.
Hey, an agency sent an employee.
Do you have production experience?
I've produced YouTube videos. I'm hungry. When's my first break?
This is not sustainable. If you want happy customers and a healthy business, something's gotta change. So yes, we tried Yes.